holo? Why sucky na holo? Why sucky na holo? Welcome to the Champagne Rugby Podcast, live from the Export Beer Garden Studio. And the Champagne Rugby Podcast now brought to you by Maxcraft. And you know, McOnie, they are the #1 performing fully insulated slab in New Zealand. Don't build your new home without it. And they sponsor the podcast, so what a bunch of absolute legends.
Maxcraft gives you Max Shaft. It's so exciting to have a product like that on board. Welcome. Welcome.
Well, we've got something pretty special coming up shortly, James McOnie. The first interview this season with a very, very hot All Black and Crusaders legend, which we'll have at the end of the show. Any guesses of who it is?
The hottest. I feel like Dog Roll's hot.
Norm Maxwell, he's pretty hot.
Yeah. Will Jordan's hot. Look, there's so many hot players. I actually think Shea Fihaki's got a little bit of something, you know. I'd put him in a music video.
Who do you think's the hottest Crusader of all time?
Fletcher Newell.
Fletcher Newell.
Well, I mean, it's you.
I don't mean physically. I don't mean like literally hot. I feel
body
like
temperature? You're talking about Owen Franks. You know, I mean, hottest Crusader. Ooh, Carter. Is Carter... I mean, I feel like he's man hot. Do women find him hot?
I think famously women find him hot.
Do they?
I mean, he's the original jockey model.
No, because, you know, the thing is when you ask yes, I mean, come get us all the works, you know, like yes. But sometimes, you know, there's someone who you mean go, that guy's hot, and then the women will say, no, it's someone else. It's like Adrian Choate, apparently. He gets a lot of attention.
What about Justin Marshall in the blonde
You and I aren't
days?
thinking Adrian Choate, are we?
Never occurred to me.
But that's the thing. You could put Bradley Cooper in a team, and he wouldn't stand out like Will Jordan. But then Bradley Cooper's the Hollywood heartthrob. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. In that different context with other people around.
Yeah.
Maybe it's how they act on stage. I know that Richie Mo'unga. I've told the story a lot of times, but my wife has a massive crush on him, and she often would say while he was kicking, Who's that guy? Who's that? And I'd say, it's Richie Mo'unga. And then like a week later, he'd be kicking again, and she'd go, who's that guy? And I'm like, same guy you asked last week.
Yeah.
Maybe stop asking about Richie Mo'unga.
Anyway, we've got a player on. We're going to interview him, and it'll be exciting.
Should be good fun. And
welcome to everyone out there, because look, we've had some rugby being played.
Super's underway, baby.
Super's underway. Your Highlanders looking good. The Chiefs a little bit dicey, but. The Hurricanes especially, but I don't know where we're going to kick this thing off. Where would you like to start?
Well, I think a good place to start is at the beginning, and that was Friday night, the Crusaders and the Chiefs down there at FML Stadium. I believe you and G. Lane were commentating for the ACC, and it was a good old-fashioned shit show, really. You thought that the Crusaders were down and out. They came back, they fought back bravely, and the Chiefs just, a couple of penalties, got it in the end.
Yeah, classic game of two halves with a little bit of sprinkling at the end, a little bit of Salt Bay from Josh Ioane. I think obviously D-Mac leaving the field in the 42nd minute changed everything. The Chiefs, though, it wasn't just the missing D-Mac. In the second half, they just didn't seem to have much going for them, and it was all Crusaders. They suddenly clicked. Rivers Reihana got his act together. I thought it was pretty cool seeing ex-Chief Rivers Reihana pretty much, you know, with the hardest act to follow in rugby, which is after Richie Mo'unga, who's won 7 titles or whatever, and you slot into that 10 jersey. It's like following Freddie Mercury at Live Aid, really, isn't it? You know,
who did follow Freddie Mercury?
And then it's like, okay, you're on, and the next person, whoever is Phil Collins, going, fuck this.
Yeah.
You know, I've got to sing, you know, Groovy Kind of Love. Real slow, you know, like, damn it, I should have done In the Air Tonight. I knew it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you should come out with. You call an audible and go, listen, we're going to have to go In the Air Tonight first up. Did you see what Freddie just did out there? That was crazy.
But I think Rivers Reihana with a beautiful 50-22. I knew there would be more of those because they've changed the offside rule. But beautiful 50-22, and then nice hands for Shea Fihaki, and Shea Fihaki as well. Again, shaky in the first half, shaky Shea in the first half of the Crusaders. Second half at fullback, bear in mind, he's just pretty much come in because Will Jordan is out for the season. He looked great too. So I think all the Crusaders fans who are on my different WhatsApp groups going, oh, we're crap this year, you're actually not.
Yeah, I mean,
it's going to take time. It's a mainland cheese thing.
He's like, fairly new to the whole scene, had a couple of good seasons, but he just looks like an absolute specimen out there, sprinting onto the ball, scoring a pretty incredible try, showing such pace. He's a big man as well. And like you said, Reihana, I even think the confidence to do a quick short line out and make those sort of decisions to set up their try, again, is just, it's kind of outrageous thinking for a young fella who is the Phil Collins to the Freddie Mercury. It's a tough play to be in. And then to go, you know what, we're going to really rip it here. I'm going to try something outrageous and make it pay off. It's big raps for him, really.
Yeah. I was just thinking, there was a Phil Collins song that I used once, and I you know how when you revisit it, when you're working on TV and you go, I've got to use a Phil Collins song, and I think this one will work. And it was surprisingly good, but he might have been with Genesis at that point, because when you've got the lads helping you out and you're not just Phil by yourself, So maybe that's also what happened at halftime. Rob Penny said, don't let him be Phil Collins out there. Frickin' get him behind him like Genesis.
Yeah.
This is the chat they would have said, and then you can feel it in the air tonight. Look, I thought there were a couple of, are we in the era, just what you were talking about Shea Fihaki, is this the era of the lanky fullback?
Yeah, I think so.
Because Jacobs Ratumaitavuki Neatkins, how good was he
Absolutely.
for the Highlanders?
Outright JRK rolling. He's one of my main notes for today, which we'll get to when we get to that game.
We'll get to him.
He was outrageous. And it's the classic, for me, it's the classic case of a guy who was at the Blues last year, looked pretty good, but in a team like that, he just sort of disappears. He's not given enough ball. There's too many other players who are sort of maybe doing a bit more than him, even struggling to get on the park. And then he goes down to the Highlanders. The classic case with the Highlanders, people go down there and are given enough rope to...
A Feki Toa.
Yeah, a real Feki Toa sort of situation, a Patrick Osborne, if you will. And it was glorious to see. He just... Did he get man of the match? He should have. He's my man of the match.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant in that game. There was also the National Bank horse, Zahn Sullivan, another lanky fullback. I mean... Lanky fullbacks are just they're coming to their own. Sean Stevenson really is a lanky fullback.
Yeah,
he's a big lanky dude. So shout out to them, and also star of the Black Clash, Ruben Love, starting at 15 and looking very, very good at 15. I mean, I know that he's going to play. He's saying that he's going to play a little bit of 10, but I don't know. The way the Hurricanes clicked and everything just looked good. Yes, if Geordie gets injured, they could shit the bed, but I'm hopeful. I thought they were the best of all the New Zealand Super Rugby teams when they were just, at their peak in that game. I know it's just the Western Force.
Yeah, I think that's the real asterisk beside their win. I was wondering that actually about the Highlanders win as well. I wondered how they would go against maybe a stiffer opposition, but I also wondered how stiff Moana Pacific are going to be this year. They looked pretty solid for a lot of that game. Julian Savia, we saw him charging around in the midfield at 12, which seems unheard of, but he seems to still have that ability to
I thought he was older than
six
that.
guys.
Yeah.
How old is he? 30?
Yeah. Not 12. But the thing is, I think
you don't want to check the ID. Trust me, I've been caught in that one before.
The forwards of Moana Pacifica, because Tom Coventry's gone there, and he's actually I went to school with Tom Coventry at Hamilton Boys High. We were in West Side Story together.
Oh, nice. Who are you?
Both Sharks.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Puerto Ricans.
You were just chorus?
Swarthy, but Puerto Rican Sharks. Chorus, he couldn't sing. He had a terrible singing voice. So it was my aim to not stand beside Tom, because he was an absolute shocker. I think he was there just to meet girls from Girls High. Certainly that's why I was there.
Well, I also went to a single-sex school, and I can tell you the production certainly was one of the only times when you cross-pollinated with the girls' school. So there was a lot of people who were not talented, but they still were in the musicals. So that's the main thing. You get them into the culture.
Well, he's got them on song at the Moana Pacifica. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, there he is. Hello.
But because I thought in the forwards they just looked so well drilled, so onto it, that a little bit more polish in the backs. It's a new Willie Havili at 10, which is a new thing after Lelia Whanau for so long. They'll click as well. But I just look at all the derbies; they're going to be crazy good. Like again, I mean. The New Zealand derbies, that is. But shout out to the one Australian derby I watched from start to finish, the Reds versus the Tars. Not so bad. Not so bad.
Yeah, well, I think we've sort of heaped a lot of vitriol on the Australian super teams the last couple of years. Sometimes they have been shockingly bad. But they are still good sides with good players who will knock over a couple of the New Zealand... I think there was a run where they hadn't beaten a New Zealand team forever, and then the Highlanders put their hand up and said, hey, you can beat us. a couple of times this season. But I think they'll knock over a couple of the Kiwi teams this year. They're hopefully getting their act together. I did see they finally released the documentary, the Stan Sport documentary about the Wallabies World Cup run last year, and basically everyone said it's going to be the shortest documentary ever. You didn't even do well. You didn't make it out of the old pool. So what are we doing here? But nonetheless, it'll be worth a watch at some stage.
Yeah, let me guess. Eddie Jones is a nutter. I mean, it's good that it's there. What do you call it? Like for history, posterity. For posterity, you've got Eddie there. But as far as the value of it, I think a lot of it was played out in the media. Like the damage was done. So I'd like to see, I guess, if I was to watch that documentary, just to see how out there Eddie is, because all accounts I thought he was sounding a little bit unhinged.
He was sounding very unhinged. It's one of those ones where they had obviously already agreed to make it, thinking, well, if we do somehow get into the latter stage of the tournament, what a story this will be, and we want to be there from the start. But unfortunately, when you're making a documentary, sometimes you are just shit. And so the documentary itself is just shit. Not every documentary doesn't end like the, the Grudge, the Snitch, the Jinx. That's what I'm looking for. The Jinx, where the murderer confesses to himself.
Wait, that's spoiler.
That's an old podcast. If you haven't listened to the Snitch, what is it called? The Jinx. There it is.
Is that I thought is this a documentary?
It's a very old podcast called The Jinx.
It was making of a murderer. That was kind of like
that launched Netflix into the stratosphere. Making a Murderer. Yeah. Old Brandon Dassey. Why did you confess, Brandon? You idiot.
Yeah, come on now.
I know he was coerced by a corrupt law enforcement agency, and I mean we've all been there from time to time.
I was listening to a podcast, and not as good as this one, but they were trying. Over in America, talking about the Last Dance and the Michael Jordan story, really, that was released during COVID, and of course because there was nothing to watch and definitely no sport to watch, it became appointment viewing to the point where you're just going, when's the next episode going to drop? And of course, everyone lapping it up. You're talking about the most recognisable sports person in recent history, probably in history, and then all these other players who are like, definitely good side stories to it. But now people are saying it's Michael Jordan pretty much pulling the strings in that. It's his narrative and nobody else. And now you see Scottie Pippen, Luke Longley and one other doing a tour of Australia, the No Bull tour, to sort of refute the documentary. And that's actually what I like about the documentary, is that it's become kind of this marker, and now there's a spin-off tours and chats, and I look at New Zealand and the sports documentaries that are made here, Richie McCaw, Dan Carter. I thought the McCaw one was actually quite good. I didn't watch the Dan Carter one. Have you seen the Carter one?
It's all right.
Okay.
It's nothing that you wouldn't expect, I'll put it that way.
I like that McCaw was a fat kid, obviously. That was pretty cool, very relatable. But I guess what I'd like to see from a New Zealand documentary is for it to become that part, like the, the water cooler chat, the part of the zeitgeist where everyone just goes, all right, this is something that needs to be talked about and referred to all the time. I took that personally, which is the quote from the Jordan documentary.
Of course.
When is that going to happen?
Well, I think, unfortunately, we will need another pandemic of some description where we're forced inside, because I think that really was the thing that united everyone on watching it. I feel like the Tiger King, the other thing that was consumed with reckless abandon during that period, if that was just to come out now, there's no way I would watch a show about some insane gay tiger guy. There's no way, it just wouldn't come into my frame of reference. But because we were all locked in and everyone was doing it, I drank in every episode and wanted more.
Did you know that? Oh, yeah, I think you're right. But did you know the Lion Man is still alive? The one who's up north.
There is lions dead, though.
His lions might be dead.
I think they killed a guy.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I thought he might be dead, but I think he's alive.
The Lion Man?
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you are listening, Lion Man, get in touch. Send us a message on Instagram, just Tony_Lyall on Instagram, Lion Man. Please do get in touch. We'd love to get you on the podcast, sort of see who you are supporting in the new Super Rugby competition. Hopefully it's...
He'd be Blues, wouldn't he?
Well, I was going to say the Lions, but they've probably been jettisoned from the competition. They're playing...
He should be supporting them. Well, he's South African anyway, is he?
I'm not sure.
He's got a mix myxomatosis of an accent, doesn't he? He's sort of like, he speaks Lion, basically, Lionese.
The only face I have in my head is the face of Fabio, the supermodel.
Yeah.
He kind of looks a little bit like a Lion Man. Am I wrong in saying that? Do you know who Fabio is?
Yeah, Fabio, yeah, that's
He
right.
was once hit in the face by a bird while riding on a roller coaster.
You're just thinking of men with long hair, but yes, yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's a subset, I guess. Yeah, it's a genre.
Speaking of long hair, this came up a lot in the commentary over the weekend. There's a lot of bad dye jobs in Super Rugby this year. The Highlanders were full of them. They've just got the old peroxide out, dumped it in their hair. There's a lot of sort of Justin Timberlake, early 2000s sort of ringlets that are dyed blonde. You're around the teams a lot. You got a bit of inside intel. What's going on? Are they just trying to look average, or do they think it's cool?
You're talking about Folau Fakatava in particular. He's got
Putty Parkinson was the one who really stood out to me.
Yes, he did too. Fakatava with the ringlets. I quite like it. I saw someone with a absolute platinum blonde, which is more. It was
almost great.
Did you see that? And
Petra Vegas was out there for a moment. Yeah, I did see that.
The Argentinian players. There are two of them who, when they beat New Zealand in the sevens in Vancouver yesterday, two of them had the proper platinum blonde, and it was pretty awesome. They look like superheroes.
I think one of the Moana Pacifica players also was running the platinum. It's it's so shiny. I can't imagine. I don't have much hair to play with, so I sort of look at all hair longingly. I look at yourself and think, geez, what I wouldn't do. I want to scalp you right here in the ACC studio and wear your head around like a wig and just sort of pretend to be you for a while. But what I'm trying to say is I just notice it a lot, and I think, what a waste of a beautiful head of hair just to dye it completely grey. It must be bad for the hair follicles. Is it going to fall out in the shower afterwards? So you need to treat it with more respect.
Look, I think it's all about that personality, isn't it? Like showing your flair. I've heard the most praise for a haircut I've heard lately is for Finn Allen's buzz cut.
Yeah.
Like, it just suits him, and it's from Women on the 3236. One woman texted him because we were doing the rugby and I was getting all the cricket texts as well.
Yeah.
And actually, no, it was about Lockie Ferguson. She said that she would ride that moustache into submission or something like that.
I get it. Speaking of the cricket, I saw something that was...
I think we know what she's talking about.
Yeah, I think she's looking to sort of have him perform cunnilingus on her.
Yeah.
I think is what she'd like. I never thought, is the moustache... make it better or worse? I feel like it'd be bristly, sort of like a sort of sandpaper-esque sort of David Warner situation down there.
Well, we probably need some 3236. We'll pick up these texts a bit later.
Yeah.
But if you text us about does the womb broom, the moustache make things better down there, and the act of cunnilingus. Well, I mean, we probably should have asked. We had a sex.
Yeah, Morgan Penn, the
therapist.
sexologist from Sex.life, the podcast. Maybe we can get her. I'm looking at a producer thing. I wonder if we can get her for a conversation about how if it does enhance or detract while performing cunnilingus. We've gone off topic. What I was going to say is, and it is hair related as well, at the Black Caps game, one of the security guards was running a Jonah. He was running an actual Jonah haircut, the shaved head with the fringe up the top. And I haven't seen the sort of slug on top of the head since Jonah passed away, RIP. And I wondered, is that going to come back for everyone, or was this just a one rogue agent operating the Jonah? Have you seen it in your travels?
I love that. And I remember when Jonah even shaved his eyebrows, I thought, wow, that's big, Like, here I am plucking my monobrow, but I'm like going, Jonah, good thinking, mate, put the 11 in there. And even remember Matanonu with the eyeliner?
Yeah.
Like, I think the flair, showing that flair is a great thing. So I feel that anyone who wants to dye their hair, I'm all for it, but I'm surprised that no one's gone for, well, maybe it's a couple of years old, this reference, but the Squid Game red,
Yeah.
Like when he gets out of the Squid Game and he dyes his hair, that to me is quite a big moment.
Yeah.
And I thought, surely someone's going to mimic that because it's a great look.
Yeah, I haven't seen any sort of aggressive red hair dyes. And can I just say, when Jonah did shave that 11 into his eyebrow, I know I certainly went to the Springland School social with an 11 in my eyebrow and shocked my mother when I came out of the shower, all 10 years older than me or however old I was. Very young, too young to be shaving my eyebrow in the shower, that's for sure. But I think I looked pretty rad.
Before we just take a break, I just want to say a little shout out to Xavier Rowe, who started at halfback ahead of Cortez at Artema, because everyone's talking about Cortez, and he was clutch when he was on there. He saved a try by doing the koala tackle where you just hug the guy and take him down over the dead ball line. and it looked like it might have been a try. But hey, and very gutsy in the final quarter was Cortez. But Xavier Rowe, nice work, Xavier Rowe, because you haven't seen much of him. He was all injured last for the entirety of last season, and I always think it must be tough, like it's like, do I still know how to do it? What do I do with my hands? It scored a great try when DMAC made the break.
And he looks just like an everyday guy, which is what I like about him. He just looks like a guy who's maybe won a competition to be out there. He doesn't look like he's been playing rugby all his life, but he's out there, he's having fun. Good follow-up as well, good hands to score that try. I was excited to see him charging around out there for sure. And we spoke about it last week on the podcast as well, Ben O'Keefe having a chat with the media, sort of saying we're going to change the way the refs interact with the game. And I have to say, in all the games I watched, it definitely seemed like they were much more hands-off. The games were flowing nicely. I mean, in the Highlanders Minor Pacific game, there was an attempted intercept that was knocked on and no one was sent off, which I haven't seen in a decade.
Yeah, that's right. He's trying to catch the ball. I heard that too.
And they weren't litigating everything. Putty Parkinson, late clumsy charge on a kicker, where last year that would have been replayed 55 times, play by play, watching his shoulder hit him in the head until eventually they had no option but to red card him. But he just said, it was an accident, penalty, carry on. And even the players were thinking, we definitely thought this was a card. Putty Parkinson had his head in his hands. He's thinking, I'm off for sure.
He thought he was going for a skate. And that's the thing. I did notice that moment that, yes, it was an accident. And yes, you would see that in other sports. That's definitely an indoor netball accident, that one.
Mate, I'm taking out young women constantly in indoor netball. I'm a big guy, I'm a tall guy, I'm quite lanky, so I really dominate under the hoop. I'm rejecting young women constantly when I play indoor netball. But from time to time, I'm charging too hard and I will just clean out some poor woman. Or man, small man, I'll sometimes accidentally bunt the shit out of them. And I'm always, sorry, I'm just sort of, I don't know how big I am. I'm like a newborn giraffe. So you do see that with Putty Parkinson and other tall guys, lanky people like myself. So it's great I didn't get sent off for it. He didn't deserve it.
Yeah, nice.
Well, we'll take a short break, but before we do, I want to inform you, and I don't know if you've heard about this. You may be all over this like a rash, James McOnie. But that 2 Degrees are on the hunt to find New Zealand's super team super fan, which is basically just the biggest fan of a super team in New Zealand. If you know all their players, if you wear their supporters kit, which a lot of people do, I mean, it's just wearing a jersey, then you can get in the draw to win an epic VIP game day experience, including a stadium tour with some of your favourite players. By entering yourself as a super fan, which I do believe I've said, you can enter on the 2 Degrees website. And for more details, just text FAN to 3236. How do you think they spell fan?
Oh, right, with 2 degrees.
Yeah.
FAN?
Yeah, just the normal way to spell fan.
Right.
So text that to 3236. We'll take a quick break and be back with next week's games very shortly. Speaking of exciting, Super Round this week. All the teams descend on Melbourne to go hit up the laneways, drink some overpriced coffee, probably do some cocaine, I'd imagine, at some stage. Some of the fringe players, maybe not the main players. I retract that. Who knows? They might entertain themselves in other ways. But
buy some second-hand clothing and maybe an old game or a Ouija board.
Something
like that.
Board games are back.
Board games, Yeah.
Who knew that board games would come back in such a way? I've got adult friends who sit around on the weekend playing board games with each other, just drinking tea and seem to be really content with that. None of them have kids, which I think is the real tell. They're just filling in time. But there's a lot of big games, the first of which I'll be commentating on the ACC this weekend, and that is the Blues versus the Highlanders. It's at 8 p.m. New Zealand time because that's 6 p.m. Melbourne time, so they can fit in a couple of games on that first night. And I think that'll probably be one of the big games of the round. I think it's the only New Zealand double, what do you call them?
Derby,
that's the word I'm looking for.
The Reece Derby.
The only Reece Derby on the weekend. It's the Highlanders versus the Blues, the top and the bottom, the snout and the tail of New Zealand going at it. And
it's the Highlanders, Jermaine. Come on, Brett, Jermaine, Highlanders Blues. We love that, don't we? It's nice.
And they'll say, who's a player? Folau Fakatava, present.
Present, Folau, okay. What are you doing this week? Burpees, yes, it's good.
Got a bit of Tom Sainsbury in your Reece Derby, by the way.
Sorry, I don't know. I need to see Reece before I can actually mimic him. He's a very specific Murray anyway. Yeah,
he certainly has. He's sort of really put the New Zealand accent out there for a while. But that game's at 8 o'clock on Friday night, and I think this will be a great test for the Highlanders to sort of see where they sit. And there's so many new dudes out there running around. Half the team you've never seen before.
There's a Jermaine in the team. Jermaine Ainsley.
Jermaine Ainsley. He'll be out
Prop.
there.
Yeah.
There isn't Jermaine. Is there a Brett? Probably not.
Is it Brett Cameron in the Hurricanes?
Is there a Murray? Well, I feel like we should form our own Super Rugby Flight of the Conchords band and get them to sing Jermaine Ainsley. I mean, is Stephen Brett still alive? Is he around somewhere?
I can tell you right now that Stephen Brett is coaching the LA rugby team, so I'm going to go and see him this weekend. Yes,
he's hot. No, he's hot.
He's a looker. He's not Richard Kahui. I feel like that's Premier League, like that's Champions League.
You think Richard Kahui's the number one?
Yeah, Kahui's number one.
Yeah.
So anyway, the Blues are $1.18 at the TAB. Oh, the Landers, come on now.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the Blues, Mike Hoskins-Satutu, what a great start to the season. I've been picking him to have a big season because he got left out last year. No World Cup for you, no soup for you. And now he must be, like smarting, as they say.
He'll be smarting.
Smarting.
Rock under the beach towel, as they say.
Yeah. And then now he's coming out to prove a bloody point.
And we've got JRK rolling on the wing for the Highlanders, who was an absolute revelation in that Moana Pacific game. Scored a try, seemed to set up about 55 others, was just charging around with reckless abandon. Of course, formerly of the Blues. So I'd like to see him really just getting stuck in.
Oh, is this Tavatavanawa?
No, this is old bloody Neepkins. What's his last name?
He's at fullback, yeah.
Yeah, what did I say, the wing?
Yeah.
Tavatavanawa, Jimbo Slice.
I was going, I know who you mean, yes, of course, yeah, Tavatavanawa, yeah, he's a squat man, isn't he?
Oh, he's an absolute chode of a human and just so strong, and he does that thing where because he's such a threat, he's always just has a couple of players looking at him at all stages, which opens up so many little gaps around the place. He's an excitement machine. And wasn't really unleashed last week.
No, he didn't. The run of play didn't go his way. Even Jonah Nardeki, I thought like it was odds on. I think I might have put a bet on for Jonah Nardeki to score because he's just one of those guys who pops up at the right place, right time. But it all went to Ratu Maitavuku Neepkins and who you're calling JRK
Rowling.
JRK Rowling.
Yeah, we get the get the Harry Potter music under his name every time he gets the ball. It's quite nice. And there was a stage as well where Jonah Lowe was on one wing and Jonah Nardeki was on the other wing. There was double Jonahs on the wings. And I think if that's not a sign that we're about 20 years after Jonah's complete dominance of the sport, then nothing is, where all the wingers are called Jonah, because basically you have a baby when Jonah's at the height. You go, well, if we want him to play wing, we're going to have to call him Jonah. There's no other name we could possibly give him. And I thought that was quite exciting.
Well,
it's double Jonah.
It's pushing sort of 30 years, but yeah, it is.
It is. I guess Jonah Lomu 95, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow, that's truly terrifying for me, and I'm having some sort of existential crisis right now, but we can carry on. Death, it's coming for us all. I'd just like to remind you all that.
It is.
That one day.
So then if we go fast forward a bit, because the Crusaders go over to play the Tars, which could be interesting, but I feel like the Crusaders, they're hosting. Are they hosting or going?
They're going. They're all going.
It's all
in Melbourne. Super round.
Actually, that helps because I noticed the Chiefs have to play the Brumbies.
The Brumbies, yes.
And I was worried because the Brumbies look quite good, and they always are the best of the Aussie teams. But then Melbourne's a great leveller, and we played them last time in the Super Round actually, and everyone's just sweating their nuts off. It's just water breaks all the time. You're never quite sure what the hell's happening. Are we playing rugby yet, or are we still just trying to find some shade? And so reducing it to that kind of, what would you call it, like a sweat fest?
Yeah, I'd say a sauna fest, yeah.
Big old sweat fest is probably the best thing for the Chiefs because they didn't quite look on the money. I'm not sure how D-Mac is after hobbling off with a little tweak of the knee.
Yeah, he did hobble off, and it was quite a shame because he was throwing himself into it. He was scintillating. It was so good to see. It was that one where you think, oh, that's right, this is how good this guy is and how important he is to New Zealand rugby, and just to see him wander off.
Was it a little dong, or that little sort of knob on the side of your knee, on the outside of your knee?
The knee knob?
The knee knob. Did he get a dong on the knee knob?
I think he got a dong on the knee knob. Yeah, I think that's what it was. And we haven't even spoken about the other big story of the weekend, which was Anton Lienert-Brown getting pulled off for an HIA because his mouthguard dobbed him in, a bit of a snitch in the mouth, and he seemed furious. He seemed absolutely livid.
That was great facials from him. What did I do? Come on. And he did it for ages. It's so expressive. I love both Chiefs midfielders. If you've ever seen Quinn Tupaia get pinged for a yellow card or a penalty, he blushes, he goes red, and he goes, like, oh, come on, wasn't me. You know, he goes full Shaggy.
Couldn't possibly. He goes full Shaggy.
And so now we've got Anton going, my mouthguard's telling lies.
Yeah. The Bluetooth failed them all, which is, everyone's tried to connect to a UE boom and it hasn't quite paired, and I think there was a bit of a Bluetooth situation, so the big hit could have actually happened 10 minutes prior, but it was trying to pair to the wrong device, and then it's saying the living room or the kitchen. He goes, no, it's in Anton's mouth, and so then when it finally paired, it said, yeah, you got to take him off. But Anton had recovered. He's going, well, that hit was 10 minutes ago. Surely I'm fine to play the end of the game.
That is frustrating. Yeah, the pairing of the Bluetooth can be frustrating. We all know what that's like.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this, but it was like Upside Down Day. Jeff Wilson was interviewing George Bower, who's making a great comeback from Big Bow Wow.
Yeah.
And the Crusaders front rower. And the Chiefs are I'm pretty sure they'd won.
Yeah.
You agree
I agree they won. I think we can all confirm that.
Well, this is Jeff.
Well, you got the job done. It's an impressive win. Well done. Congratulations. Outstanding. Look forward to seeing it all again next week. Like I said to Sean, it's a great start to the season. Let's go back to Kirsty standing by.
Yeah, so he reckons no, possibly not. But look, we've all done live TV here.
Yeah, we have.
I definitely feel for Jeff because I'm sure I've done that, and just as you cross or you do the throw, you go, oh no, that's right. Whether it's a name or a result or whatever. It's a pain, isn't it?
I did it on the weekend where I actually did everything right, but was doing some work for the Black Caps game, and they needed 51 runs off the final 2 overs, and someone told me that into my ear, and as I said it out loud, I thought, that can't be right because we've lost this game then. And so I said 51 runs required, and so I didn't say how many overs there were, and afterwards like, no, that was right. We're just going awfully. But I had a real absolute crisis of confidence at a crucial moment where I thought I got something wrong, and it can happen to the best of us, but I will say this, a compelling reason to maybe not have every single person who works on the rugby coverage be an ex-rugby player. Wouldn't it be nice if there were just some fellas out there, or fellesses, running around who maybe were just good, succinct, nice broadcasters who hadn't had a career in rugby and 40,000 head knocks?
Well, I think like for yourself, one of the best interviews I've seen was just recent times. You did it was a double whammy really because you got Ofa Tuangafasi with the shortest interview of all time. Let's listen to that.
Ofa, how did you go in golf today?
How'd you go in golf today, Ofa?
Is this live?
Yep. He said very well.
Yeah. So,
He probably wasn't supposed to be playing golf today by the sounds of things. He's got a knee injury. But,
no, I think he was on the golf cart.
Oh, right.
He wasn't playing.
He wasn't playing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Is this live? And then at the end of the Patrick Tuipulotu interview, your throw, or the way you summed it up, was this.
And lastly, I know you were telling us a little bit about your diet now that you got a bit of a sore jaw. What are we dealing with? Sort of mashed potatoes exclusively?
Yeah, mashed potatoes and gravy, a soft fish here and there, blended up mince, blended up steak, yeah.
Have you thought of blending up a cheeseburger?
I might try that after this game.
Hey, mate, we appreciate your time. Go talk to the boys, tell them, I reckon, just score tries, I don't know, but yeah, maybe tell them that. Let them know. All right, you get over there, fella. Yeah, it's all go down on the sideline. I think he respects me.
Yeah, there's some interesting line of questioning.
I think he respects me.
I think he did respect me, to be honest. He looked deep into my eyes and I saw a mutual respect there. I was looking at him as captain of the Blues and thinking, you're good at your job. And he was looking down and thinking, good interview. That was nice. That was something different. It's not what I normally get from all these other ex-All Blacks. They always just say, how was the game? How's recovery? I'm giving him options of cheeseburgers and milkshakes. So I think that he respects me.
Well, the lesson there is don't go for the big wrap-up and the praise. Like, don't praise the person. Like Jeff was going, he was just trying to say, yeah, played a good game, and then gave him the win, right? Yeah. So rather than do that, just turn around and keep it so short that there's no room for saying anything apart from what's going on in your mind. And for you, it was that you thought that Patrick Tuipulotu respected you.
Yeah, well, it's all about just reaching a point where you're able to raise your inflection so the person who's doing the other end of the interview knows you've finished talking. So I just needed to say some sort of words that I ended up like this. That's all I needed. I needed to finish a sentence like this so that they could go, cool, let's cut off Tony. And I needed some words, and those words happened to be, I think he respects me.
Did he almost walk away from you as well? Like, did he call it?
I told him to leave. I thank you very much. I said, you go over and tell the team to score some more tries. So I ended that interview on my own terms. Thank you very much.
Okay.
That's why he respects me, because I ended the interview with him. No one's ever ended an interview with him. He's always the one trying to leave. I mean, when you interview him, he's like, come on, McOnie, man, let's get out. I got to go. I'm with my kids in the supermarket. You don't even have a microphone.
You were driving that one, weren't you?
I was really driving it home well. I was excited.
Driving Miss Patty. All right, well, let's wrap this. Well, we're going to go to...
Well, we have, actually, before we get into this interview, we've got to make our TAB Game Day Good Punt. Of course, we've got $100 to spend on a bet, and it's a biggie this week. We're going to go for a three-way, an absolutely hectic three-way. Got the Blues to be the first team to score a try, and the Highlanders versus the Blues as the first leg. The Chiefs to be the first score of the game with a try. So a first score of that game will be a try.
Yeah.
And the Crusaders, again, the first score of that game will also be a try. So the Blues will score the first try, and it doesn't matter if there's been a penalty before that. You understand how that works. And the Chiefs and the Crusaders for the first scoring to be a try. And it's a huge return. That'll absolutely pump the TAB account up, and that will be given away instantly if we win, because it's up over $1,000. And make sure you yourself out there head to the TAB website, tab.co.nz, or download the TAB app to check out all the rugby union promos and boosted odds market, and really just make a pig of yourself by betting.
I love the boosted odds. Yes, excellent. Okay, so it's time now.
Can we reveal it?
Let's reveal it. You come on.
Oh,
Do the
come
big
on.
reveal.
Well, should we just get straight into it? I think he's on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Crusaders and All Blacks pretty boy Braydon Ennor.
Yeah,
There you
welcome.
go, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, great to have you here, Braydon. Look, we won't be talking about last year's Super Rugby final, that's for sure. But can you give us a bit of an update on where you are injury-wise and what your day consists of?
Yeah, so back running and stepping and all those things now. Not quite with the team yet, but my days are a couple of gyms a day, a run 3 times a week,
Ooh.
golf twice a week, and then watch some footy on the weekend.
And when you are watching the footy on the weekend, are you sort of in a big group with the other injured boys from the Crusaders? You just watch it at home on the TV like the rest of us? How does that work?
Yeah, last weekend had all the boys around for a barbecue. Went out and got a couple of deer the other week, so cooked that up. And then had the boys around and watched the Chiefs game. Pretty somber meeting at the end of it.
How does going out and for a wee hunt, does it pass the tick test from the Crusaders physio group?
That sort of ticks the mental well-being box.
Yeah.
It's just better for me to get away and do something that's not rugby and rehab.
Did you grow up hunting in Howick, East Auckland?
No hunting in Howick, unfortunately.
There's a bit of cougar hunting out there. Some cougar hunting out in Howick, isn't
Yeah,
there?
definitely. Karaoke night.
No, grandparents have a farm in Central Hawke's Bay, Waipak, so no big game hunting out there, but ducks, turkeys, and rabbits for sure.
If you were to watch a big game, let's say the Super Bowl, and you've got any choice of snack or little something to eat, what would you go for? What would you prepare?
My go-to is usually chicken nibbles. Could eat a whole couple of kgs by myself of those, sure.
Yeah, chicken nibbles do go really well. I notice in America they call them like wings, and it seems to be a bit more masculine. When we say chicken nibbles, it sort of seems like you're a child. It's embarrassing to order.
Yeah. Can I have my nibbles, please, Mummy?
It's on the kids' menu, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, you love the kids' menu, do you? When you go to a restaurant, you go, okay, I've seen enough here. Show me the nibbles.
Where's the nibbles, the nuggets, and the chips?
Yeah.
Now, Braydon, I mean, I hate to say this right to your ear hole, but you're a good-looking fella. You're in your mid-20s. You're an All Black Crusaders legend. I know you're in a relationship, but what are the DMs like? Your DMs must just be filthy, right, on your Instagram. Do you just have to delete them constantly? How does that go for you?
No, mine are pretty quiet, actually. I know a few other lads get a few, but no, the only one in my DMs are... Actually, my mum's been sending me a few No filthy DMs, but a few classic boomer reels. She's just got a hold of Instagram DMing, so it's been quite entertaining.
Oh, mate, my mum
sharing
does
the
the one
reels.
where
Sharing.
she sends me stuff from Facebook, but it's in like the Marlborough Cool Cat chat, which is, a Facebook page you have to join in Blenheim. So I'm not part of that. So she just constantly sends me links that I can't see. It's the most
I
boomer
can't see
action
them,
ever.
Mum. It's I can't see what you're talking about. Okay, let's get down to the nitty gritty. Showers. Kieran Reid has talked about there's too many undies being worn in the showers and stuff, even at the Crusaders. What's the ratio like, undies and just letting it all hang out?
Yeah, I guess it's just, I think it's because the game's getting younger and younger. You got like 19, 20-year-olds all coming in and wearing undies. So most of the guys just wear undies now. It's obviously club footy is a bit different. Everyone's nude in the communal showers, but yeah, I guess it's just how it is now.
I've noticed a lot of Speedo wearing sort of creeping into the game. Often on the field, the pants will get pulled down and there'll be a Speedo underneath. Where has this come from, and do you partake?
I'm not a Speedo wearer personally. I feel like I get chafing too much.
That's what I thought.
Unlike some of the guys, I leave the hair on my legs, so I get a bit of chafing up in there. I guess going back to the shower undie situation, potentially just thinking about it now, everyone does get in the ice bath before the showers, so that might have something to do with it. Everyone's a little bit worried about how they're looking after the ice bath.
100%. If you're playing in Samoa or Hawaii, you'd be like, yeah, let's go.
Fiji,
yeah, exactly. I get it. Now, you've been coached a lot by Razor. Can you sort of, is there a memorable speech or something that, that Razor sort of told you, or a little pearl of wisdom? Can you give us a good Razorism?
Razorism. I guess one he's always used is your best asset is your body. You might have heard that on the socials from after his first meeting with in the camp earlier this year. He has a few. It's hard to sort of pinpoint one, but he definitely puts a lot of rugby playing in perspective with in regards to a tough week or a tough pre-season. It's like he always goes back to, if you don't want to be here, you can go dig trenches at one of the sites. So he puts it in perspective for a lot of us that a lot of young guys haven't had a job coming through or have never had a taste of labouring before. It's can sober you up a bit to how good we have it in professional rugby.
And he is such a character, and obviously you've won a lot of Super Rugby campaigns with him at the helm. What's he like at the post-match do? Does he let you guys take charge, or is he right at the head of the ship sort of urging you guys into battle?
Are you talking about the aftermatch?
Yeah, the aftermatch.
No, he lets the boys go at it at certain times, obviously. But yeah, India do. He's always there to have a beer with and let a few dance moves go later in the night. Is
there one that sticks out to you for the best? Obviously, all the campaigns are great when you win a Super Rugby title, but in terms of the after winning it, the do, is there a year where you were like, man, we're never going to go better than this after it all is said and done? Any do that sticks out the most?
For me personally, it was probably 2018, which was my first one when I was fully in with the team. Went round to Luke Romano's. He's got a wee shed and some cows and a few ride-ons. So, yeah, the boys were letting loose, herding the cows on the lawnmower and, trying to have a ride on one and that sort of thing is always pretty good, pretty fond memories.
I love that. Surely Romano's got a pizza oven. It just seems like he should.
He's probably got everything but a pizza oven, to be fair.
Oh, right. Okay. So, Braydon Ennor, I'd like to ask you something that's kind of rugby-focused, if that's okay. I mean, are you faster than Will Jordan?
Probably not at the moment. I think he could probably get me now. Well, to be fair, he's just had surgery as well, so it might be a bit of an even match if he's still got the anaesthesia in his system. But I think he's got me these days. I've had a pretty sort of tough run with injuries and haven't had a lot of speed work in the last couple of years, so he's looking pretty quick these days.
Are you saying too much weight's not enough speed work?
For me, yeah.
Yeah, you got. Mate, the thing about it is there's something special about it. I saw the mascot race down at the Highlanders. We put it on Crowgo's Wild last night, and the pig just wearing normal sneakers on grass. I was like, he beat a giraffe in rugby boots, and it was a great moment for the zoo and for the pig. And so there must be something special about winning sprint races. You've probably done it all your life, right?
A few years when I was a bit younger and skinnier.
Oh, yeah, okay. You're a big fella now. Is that what you're saying? Big unit.
I was just a stick back in the day. Yeah.
Hey, another rugby-focused question here for you, Braydon. You're a Canterbury legend. Big Al, are we talking Big Garys or Spagalimis?
Oh,
Big Gary's was always my go-to in the uni halls. Yeah.
Yeah, the old foot-long hot dog. I mean, it's a bit tough to go play a game of rugby on after you've consumed one of those, though, right?
Do they still?
That's usually a 12 a.m. shout, but yeah.
Yeah. 12
a.m. Oh, yeah. I was just wondering, you mentioned uni halls, so I'm just wondering, do they still do the drinking horns on the river banks just in front of the Student Union building? Is that part of the Canterbury University traditions there?
I've never heard of partaking of that, but I'm sure something like that does go forward.
Okay.
And O-Week at the moment, down there in Christchurch with the students, are you sort of engaging with them in any ways, the Crusaders? You're getting amongst it, trying to get them in to form a sort of Crusaders version of the zoo down in Dunedin?
No, I think that's something we could do, to be fair, especially with especially building up to the new stadium. Obviously, it can be quite cold in winter, so the zoo's outdoor in Apollo Stadium at the moment, but that's something Christchurch should definitely grow for sure.
Yeah, a lot of close proximity body heat there, in the zoo. No one's sitting on their seat. It's like a terrace. Everyone's just probably too close, to be honest. There's a bit of liquid
and you've
flying
got
around.
The flamethrowers are right there to keep you warm as well. So.
Yeah, they give off a lot of heat. If you've got a seat next to the flamethrower, it's quite frightening sometimes. You'd notice it as well in the in-goal area, wouldn't you?
Yeah, every now and then, especially as you're running through the tunnel and those sorts of things.
Yeah, true. Look, I just wanted to ask you about the rugby side again, which is Tamaiti Williams on the rampage. How good was that? But also, how gutting with the hamstring injury.
Yeah, it seems there's pretty high attrition rate at the moment. Both of our preseason games and obviously first round have taken a couple of bodies out for a week or two. Yeah, obviously Big Tom's 140-something clicks, doesn't tend to train at top speed very often. But yeah, he's a hell of an athlete. We call him the unicorn. So,
and we saw a bit of that in that game. It's Aidan Ross on the breakaway as well, and then Tamaiti Williams absolutely thundering down the sideline. Do you think props these days need to relax and just sort of keep it in the tide? Are you sick of them stealing your glory out in the wide channels?
Funny you say that. We all joked about how Tom's makes a break. It's the new age prop, and then Owie Franks comes on and gets 3 scrum penalties, and that's the old age prop. That's the down and dirty. But there's plenty of athletes around, young fellas coming through that are changing the game. So it's good to see.
And now, just finally, Braydon, I just need to give a shout out to Dallas McLeod's daughters. He did drop the ball, but I understand he's got a broken knuckle. Is that correct? There was a reason for the hands. Well, you thought it might be because he's so big downstairs that he's a bit lopsided.
It's dragging him down.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he does have a broken knuckle at the moment, so he's got a guard on his hand that keeps his hand half closed, which is probably not ideal. But they're going to get that fixed this week, getting a new guard made, which will be good for him.
And just to close the loop, really, I think probably we're all thinking of it still, and that's back to the showers. Is there anyone you want to give a special shout out who does represent the old school and sort of doing it a bit nude in the Crusaders setup?
That represents the old school. To be honest, Will Jordan actually every now and then gets out there.
Jordan, what a guy!
I remember Kieran Reid always praised him for it. Another one, Mitchell Drummond. There's a reason why he's got his locks off, but and the rest of us keep ours on. But yeah.
Oh, you don't imagine it from a little halfback, but good to know.
No, I interviewed Alan Langer once in the changing rooms and over in Sydney, and it was impressive. Yeah, it was impressive. Yep. On that note, anyway, great reminiscing, great chatting. Hey, Braydon, look forward to seeing you back. Can you give us an official date so we look like we've got some breaking news?
I haven't even thought about coming back yet. The date isn't there, but roughly it's a choice between playing club rugby for UC down here. Just depends if it will be in those finals or not, or Canterbury NPC pre-season.
Well, you heard it here first.
We'll see how we get on.
Inconclusive, really, but still, you did hear the inconclusive result here first. So thanks for giving us that breaking nugget, and we appreciate your time. All the best with the recovery, and I guess all the best for the season for the Crusaders, even though we are Highlanders and Chiefs supporters respectively. But nonetheless, go well.
Appreciate it, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Well, what a guy, and who would have thought that Mitchell Drummond would be the one who everyone's sort of intimidating in the shower? Well, no, everyone's intimidating. He's intimidating everyone.
Yeah, props to Mitchell Drummond. He sounds like he could prop himself up anyway. So, look, this is all good stuff from Braydon. We appreciate his time. I definitely want to go for a party at Luke Romano's house.
Yeah.
That sounds like the big takeaway there, apart from the big takeaway hot dog of Mitchell Drummond. So let's just say thank you very much to everyone involved. Cheers, Adam. And look, we'll talk to you next week on the Champagne Rugby podcast. And of course, we're wrapping up the Magic Round.
Oh, the Magic Round.
Is it?
Gonna be, I thought it was a Super Round.
It's the Super Round.
It probably is a Super Round. I think
Stay
Magic
on
Round.
brand.
Yeah, I know. And if you're in Christchurch on Monday as well, come and say hello at Good Times Comedy Club. Just announced a little show down there because I was supposed to be going to Blink 182 and they cancelled, but I already had my flights booked. So got to go down and do a little bit of a comedy show. Maybe we'll talk Super Rugby down there. So if you're down there, get amongst it. Otherwise, we'll see you back next week on the Champagne Rugby Podcast.